Hey friends, it's Laurie. Thanks so much for stopping by. Let's go make something. To make my Santa Hat Centerpiece, I'm starting with a 12-inch wire wreath form that I picked up at Michael's. For the base of Santa's hat, I'm using 6 rolls of the 6-inch white Dollar Tree mesh. To hold your mesh together, you're going to need some chenille stems, and I picked these up at the Dollar Tree as well. To make cutting my mesh so much quicker and easier, I cut an 8-inch piece of cardstock. I want each curl to be 8 inches in length. Then all I do is wrap the mesh around the cardboard and then cut it off at both ends. By doing it this way, you can save yourself so much time instead of having to cut each individual piece. Once all my mesh is cut, I then like to cut my chenille stems in half. I'm using silver, but any color should work fine. I want some loose curls for the hat, and as you can see, the mesh already has a nice curl to it. So I'm going to roll my mesh just a bit tighter and then place it between my fingers. Once I have 3 curls, I'm then using the half piece of chenille stem and I'm attaching them together. Using the mesh to make the curls, we're basically making a wreath for Santa's hat. I love making wreaths and I have made several of them, and you know what? I will link some of those videos below in case you'd like to check them out. When you're done, you'll have a nice bouquet of these white mesh curls, and now we're going to add them to the wreath form. If it's your first time stopping by, welcome. I'm Laurie and I love to make different types of crafts for inside and outside of my home. I put out a weekly video and once in a while I even share a lifestyle video. I'm over on Instagram, so come on over and say hi, share your crafts. I always love to see what everyone is making, and so we can keep in touch, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. It's very easy to add them, and for this project we're going to be working on the 2 outer and the 2 inner supports. I'm placing my chenille stems over the 2 inner wires. I like to turn my wreath over to make sure that they're centered between the 2 supports. Once I'm done, I twist the chenille stems together. I'm adding my next curl on the 2 outside wires, and then I continue on with the same pattern. I'm continuing on adding the curls, and I'm placing 8 bundles in each of the 6 sections. You can always add a few more or a few less of the curl bundles. It all depends on how full you want your Santa's hat. When you're finished, you'll have the perfect white base for your centerpiece. I'm using one of the Dollar Tree Santa hats, and I want to give it a little bend at the top, so I'm also going to be using 2 of the bendable hair rollers, and these came from the Dollar Tree as well. We're going to be filling the hat, and I'm actually using some stuffing from an old pillow. I removed the tags from the hat, and then I turned it inside out. Near the top is where I want the hat to bend, so I'm going to hot glue 2 of the rollers in place. If you don't have these rollers on hand, you can always use a piece of wire or even the stem from a silk flower. Once the hot glue has set up, I'm then turning the hat back to the right side. You may have to wiggle it around a little bit, but not to worry because the rollers will bend. Here comes the fun part. Whatever you're going to use to stuff your hat, just start stuffing it. When you're stuffing it, you're going to pretty much fill it up until you come to right where the white begins on the underneath part of the hat. To make the Santa hat stand up, I'm using one of the 8-inch cake pans from the Dollar Tree. As you can see, mine has been through quite a bit and I'm recycling it from an old project. It's really easy to attach the hat. I'm just using some hot glue on the side of my pan. I'm going to slide the hat over and attach the two pieces together. Once the first part of my hat was attached, I just moved around the outside of the pan and continued to add some glue and attach the rest of the hat. Once you're finished, the Santa hat can now stand up all by itself. Attaching the two pieces together is as simple as placing the white mesh wreath over the top of the hat. You may have to push it down a bit because the mesh really wants to attach itself to the faux fur. To keep them both in place, I'm using some floral wire to secure the pan to the wreath form. I'm placing the wire through one of the supports, running it across the bottom of the pan, and sliding it through another support on the other side. And then I'm going back again across the pan to secure it in place. This step can be optional, but it does help keep the two pieces together when you're moving them around. I found this plastic black belt at my Goodwill and I think it cost me $1. And when I saw it, all I could think of was Santa's belt. This is a great project to recycle an old belt, and I know they sell some at Dollar Tree as well. I cut it in half and I measured it around my Santa hat, approximately where I wanted it to sit. I then cut off the excess belt, double checked my fit, and then I hot glued the two pieces together. This centerpiece is so easy. Once I was done, I just slipped the belt right over the top of the hat. Once you're done, you can embellish this hat any way you'd like. You can add flowers or pine cones or a big bow. But for me, I really wanted it to be about Santa's hat, so I'm just going to be adding some of these small red and green bells. Using my hot glue gun, I randomly placed dots of hot glue onto the mesh, and then I added on my red and green bells. This project works up really quickly, and if you don't have any bells on hand, you can always use some of the ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and I was even thinking those red and white wrapped peppermint candies would probably look really pretty in Santa's hat. This Santa hat centerpiece is so quick, easy, and inexpensive to make, but I think it looks like a high-end piece of Christmas decor. If you aren't able to find these small bells at your Dollar Tree, the next size up would work just as well. Once I had finished attaching all my bells to the hat, I found the two bendable rollers that I had attached on the inside, and then all I did was bend my Santa's hat over on an angle. And now my Santa hat centerpiece is complete. If you can't find a belt that reminds you of Santa, or you just want to use something else, another really pretty option would be to use one of the snowflake ornaments that are at the Dollar Tree. I think this would still give the hat a beautiful high-end look. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed making this Santa hat centerpiece. If you're new and you haven't yet subscribed and you think, hey, I'd like to come back and hang out with her again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.